My name's John Marola. I'm sitting here with Section 5 Hall of Famer Paul Brigandy, and we are attempting to run a podcast in Section 5 football. It's called Keeping It Real Section 5 Football. And let's just get into it a little by little, I guess. The one thing would be why are we doing this? Well, to be honest with you, Paul's been retired for a couple years now, right? From
I've
coaching.
been out for 4 years.
4 years. I think I've been out for about 3 or 4 too. And it's always in our blood. I mean, high school football, especially Rochester, we both did 30.
I coached for 37 years.
37, yeah. We both did 37 years. We put a lot of time, a lot of sweat into this, into coaching in Rochester. And, we were looking at each other and just saying, it needs some pop. It needs this place, Section 5, it needs some juice. We need to do something. So instead of just sitting back and just complaining about things, we said, yeah, let's see if we can help. And honestly, I want to set a couple things straight right off the bat. We're not in this to make money. This is not. I have a full-time job. Paul's retired
and loving it.
And it's just something we want to give back. And if some younger athletes can watch this and be like, you know what, that's pretty cool. I want to be a part of that. That's good. That's not, try to give it some juice. Try to get it back to kind of like how we used to remember football.
Well, I think we're trying to benefit the whole Section 5 community. A lot of informative information that we do want to pass out, that we want to make sure that we are part of the communication to help, whether it's coaches, players, officials, fans. We want to get that information out to you.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And like I just said, what are we doing this for? We're doing this to try to promote Section 5 football. Couple things, Paul and I were football coaches, and we're not going to get into basketball. We're not going to get into we coach football, and this is about varsity football in Section 5.
Right, it's a varsity football podcast.
Yes, so if you have a child that's playing modified, freshman, JV, Pop Warner, let them get them up on varsity, and we'll hopefully get a hold of them. But this is recognizing Section 5 football, varsity football. The only other thing which Paul kind of talked me into a little bit of doing was maybe eventually, because there's a new sport, is girls flag football.
That's correct. They have a sectional championship, and they will be starting up their second year, and this will be as a spring sport. And we will be following their standings throughout the year and their playoff games, and we will update you on how those teams are doing, and bring in probably some of the girls' coaches and maybe some of the girls' players themselves to interview.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be a lot of fun. Just some other things. We're doing this right now. It's a Tuesday night. This is not going to go out. I'm hoping to get this out onto YouTube Wednesday, tomorrow night. It'll be the 24th, I believe, tomorrow. Get it out then. I'm doing the camera work, the editing, so it's just taking a little time. And before I go any further, too, I have to give a big shout to our guy that's I work up at Northeast High School. Used to be Leadership, which used to be Charlotte. Nick Tarenko. Nick is our library-computer guy, and he's been over to my house at least 4 times, just messing around trying to get things going. And I would have never gotten this far if it wasn't for him, because I am totally outside. I'm sure Paul is too, a little bit outside our comfort zone. I mean, if there's a football game going on right now, we're coaching. We're focusing on the kids. We're focusing on football, and that's everything. But right now, this is a little.
And John, I want to commend you. I like our set right here. This is, we have a football field here, a football field behind us,
Yeah.
and that's what we are. Football. We love it, and we want to pass it on.
And the other thing too, I want to show you right here is Paul was saying to me about a week ago. If we got information we need to send out to people, can we have it sent out, over the camera? And I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? We're old time football guys, so we don't gotta really pop anything out on the camera or whatever. We're going with the whiteboards. So I have a little whiteboard right here that says "Keeping It Real" Section 5 football. So if we need anything, at the end we'll give you our emails. If you need anything, there's a whiteboard. Now, if you want to go back even further, I have a chalkboard. And this is definitely old school. So that's the way we're going to roll around here a little bit for not right now, and I kind of like it. This kind of shows who we are and what we're about. And, we're not really into the fancy stuff. We like to make it nice and presentable. But
well, we're here about the information, and we think that's the most important thing is to pass that on to the listeners, and anything that can help them and whatever area that they're interested in that we want to promote.
now, do you want to say a couple things?
Yeah, I do. And just, in this podcast, we're going to pass out a lot of information, and we're just going to touch on some of the various topics that we will be addressing throughout the various broadcasts. And, we'll delve more into it, in the future. But, just as we look at upcoming events, the New York State High School Football Coaches Association, they have their annual clinic at Turning Stone. It's the end of February. We're waiting for them to put out the list of the various speakers. Usually every year when they have it, they bring the New York State high school champions in the various divisions of AA, B, C. Do speak there. I know that this year they were going to have the new Syracuse coaching staff,
Nice.
and which will be interested because they will be recruiting our state and our kids in the state. But that we'll have more information to pass on to that in future episodes. The other organization that is that does a lot of real good things is the National Football Foundation, and they just had their awards presentation in December. And I think it was over 52 kids, high school athletes that received scholarship monies. And, basically for those kids to qualify, you had to have better than a B average. So you had to be, strong academically. You had to show community service positions, be a good citizen. And again, that helped kids, good organization that helped kids get scholarship money that are going to go on to play college football.
Now, before you go on, there's one thing I want to kind of piggyback off of
Sure.
what you just talked about. You talked about the New York State coaches, and that's going to be at Turning Stone.
That's correct.
Paul and I, we when we got out of coaching, like we said, it's in our blood. I happened to go down to Ohio to watch some football, and I was very fortunate to meet a couple gentlemen down there, and they basically have taken us in.
Yes, they have. We have some very good friends in the state of Ohio.
Tom Rivera is one of them. He's the first one I met down there, and just awesome people. And the reason why I'm saying this and presenting this right now is I'm trying to let people know there's some really, really phenomenal football that's not too far away from us.
Yeah, that Massillon team ended up ninth in the nation, and you talk a lot about the top high school programs, the Matter Days of California, the Bishop Gormans of out of Las Vegas,
Yep.
and Massillon was the ninth ranked team in the country, and the head coach of Massillon received the Max Preps High School Coach of the Year, and he may be speaking at this New York State convention.
So that's kind of why we mentioned that, because Nate Moore, the head coach at Massillon, looks like he may be like a keynote speaker.
And John, you've met him many times.
Oh yeah,
when all your trips down there to
great,
Massillon.
just awesome, awesome people, and they've really taken us in. And I got to mention the big guy, Dave Weimer. He's another gentleman. This guy that we met, Dave Weimer, he is Massillon inside and out. I mean, he's got a house.
It's a museum.
It's a museum. He's just got so much Massillon football memorabilia. It's unbelievable.
And for some of the listeners, Massillon is the high school that Paul Brown, the great Paul Brown, he started. He's one of the only coach that won a high school national championship. He later went on to Ohio State to win a collegiate national championship, and then to coach the Cleveland Browns to a world championship.
Yep.
But his origin was Massillon, Ohio.
Yep. And that's the where professional football. Massillon's 8 miles from Canton, basically 8 miles from the Football Hall of Fame. Which another thing too, if you get a chance, go take a look at the Football Hall of Fame. I mean, they put some phenomenal money into that place. With Tom Benson, the old owner of the New Orleans Saints, he's just done a wonderful job, and we just love going down there.
And we had went down a couple of years ago and went to the Hall of Fame, and then we most recently this past year, and what changes they've made in just a couple of years, how big that has boomed.
And we go to a football game. There's 20,000 people at this game. I mean, you talk about the town shutting down on Friday night. They played Valdosta.
Valdosta had 150 kids on their varsity team, and Massillon was over 100 on their varsity high school football team.
Their band has over 350 kids. I mean, it's just it'll blow you away. Mm-hmm. It really does, and it's just something. Like I said, it's only 4 hours and 15 minutes from my house, and I try to get out there as much as I can. And if anybody's ever interested in the fall or whatever that would like to go, we're always looking. And Dave and Tom down in Ohio, they're excited when we bring other people down.
Mm-hmm.
They really enjoy it and like to showcase what they got, because it is just absolutely phenomenal.
It is. A couple of the other things that I think we will be addressing this year is the various high school football camps that will be in the area, and when we know the dates of them, sometimes we will have the people that run the particular camps. I mean, we know right off the bat the West Side camp.
Yep.
George Giordano runs that. And I know the Joe Pros camp in East Rochester, Joe Bach, Joe Cribbs are involved with that. And we want to pass that kind of information out when they are, where you can get an application to go to the camp, the dates, the times, and those were topics that we will have. Another area that is always controversial as a coach is the officials. Yeah. Right. And we've had our good days and bad days with them, but we can't run a football game without them. And we want to bring the officials group in and let them explain if you are interested in becoming an official, where would you go to become one, where their meetings are, how much time you put in, where you start at. Sometimes you might start at some of the lower levels, the freshman JV levels, and you work your way up to a varsity level. And also the various positions, everybody knows the referee, but there's umpires, side judges, back judges, and what their responsibilities are. And probably explaining to the listeners the difference between the high school rules and the college rules.
Right.
And the pro rules. The pros are 2 feet in bounds, and people are saying yeah, but high school is different. So we want to make sure that we bring in the top guys to let them explain it to our listeners.
And a lot of kids these days don't understand the high school rules. They watch so much TV with the college and the pros. And there's a lot of things that happen in the pros. Pass interference, holdings, stuff like that. We would like to try to get even if officials going to practices. I remember when I was coaching at Aquinas, we used to have Ronnie Camp come in, and he would talk to our kids, about what this is not a hold, this is a hold, just rules. Give the kids.
We had at East, we had Frank Murfino that would come in, and again, any new rule changes, we wanted our kids to hear it right from the officials before the season started.
That would be the best way to do things, and the kids get the information they need, and honestly, so do some of the coaches. They get information too from that.
Well, that's good. The other topics, we do want to bring in some of the equipment manufacturers because we're always talking about safety in this sport, and we want to know what's the latest thing coming out as far as helmets to protect the kids, different new things in some of the pads, and get a little explanation on that. You touched on the girls football, and I think we are excited because that will actually be the first varsity football, whether it's girls, boys, that actually starts this spring. So we'll be addressing that. And we are going to update you with the standings, the schedule. So if you have the opportunity to go out to these games, support the kids, it's fun. We want that. We want to promote football in this area.
For right now, we are going to broadcast once every 2 weeks. Now, this is our introduction type of night. Next Tuesday night will be our first night with a guest. And that will be next Tuesday. But like I said, I have to edit, and I'm still learning how to do that. So it'll probably be out on a Wednesday, we're looking at. And that first night we're having next Tuesday, our first guest will be John DeTulio.
Great sportscaster in the local sportscaster.
John's a great guy. I've known him for over 20 years or so. And if anybody's ever listened to him on the radio, he's got that voice. And
yeah, and you know what? I believe we had talked about it. I think he was from Erie, Pennsylvania, and that's a great power in the state of Pennsylvania, and I'm sure he'll have some good stories about the high school football in Pennsylvania to share.
Yep. I got some stories too, but I'm going to wait for him to be here next week. But we go back, like I said, we go way back. So that'll be our first guest one next Tuesday, and then 2 weeks after that, Paul, I believe you'll be here.
No, I'll be in sunny Florida.
See, when we did this thing, we were like, going, and then we're putting down the dates and times, and Paul's like, well, I'm going to Florida. And I was like, take me with you, but
yeah, you may call me, and I may be on a beach or by a pool someplace.
You might do a beachside.
Yeah, you might have a remote chat, but yeah, I'll be down there and come back later in March.
So our fill-in during that time frame that Paul will be gone will be the one and only. That's the only way I could describe him. Actually, he's just an awesome guy. He was the first guy to give me a coaching job back in 1982 when I first started coaching over at Greece Olympia, and I'm forever thankful for that. George Giordano.
Oh, that's going to be a good show. I can tell you that. Oh, great. We also want to talk about some of the league alignments. We're not real sure. We'll be getting updated on that if they will continue to have the federation scheduling or they will go back to leagues. And so a lot of that, when that is decided, will determine the schedules.
What do you think though about like I know I have a good friend over at I coached at Aquinas for 17 years or so, and I have some very close friends over there still coaching and involved, and talking to them, it sounds like they're getting their schedule. Some Rochester teams plus some Buffalo teams already together, and now I'm hearing that the federation hasn't even really decided on what to do. I mean, it's
Well, I think it's up in the air, and it's very difficult to schedule until you know what exactly is going to be the outcome. But I guess the bottom line is we want to make sure that our Section 5 teams have games.
yeah,
And the more games. I mean, I think that's something that we want in New York State to be able to play more football games.
definitely.
You
I
know,
like how they added the game.
yeah.
But they added a game, but they took the scrimmage week away, and I think that's so. I know teams these days don't, they make it more. I'm not going to play my quarterback or my tailback, or but they are going to get some reps, and I think it's important for high school kids to go against another color hat, another kid from a school, just just to get their feet wet, and taking the scrimmage away. Really, hey, more football is awesome. Love to see that. But just as far as taking the scrimmage away, I wish they would bring that back. But on the other hand, now we also have the West Side Camp we were talking about with George, doing that over at Greece Olympia. And I don't know if Paul mentioned it or not, but we will be up at Olympia. Probably, I believe it's like the first week in August.
Yeah, and that's where we'll be conducting interviews with a lot of the high school coaches, players, and a lot of those teams. I know McQuaid won the Double A. East High will be there. They
Yeah,
won the Class A.
A.
You had finalists in the various classes that were to be there.
U
So there's
Prep.
U Prep was a finalist. So you're going to talk to a lot, and a lot of the best football teams in the area attend that camp.
The 3 nights there, we're planning on interviewing. We don't know in what order, but we're planning on interviewing 4 different schools, head coaches, plus coach after the coach done. Give us a couple players. We want to talk to them. We, like I said, we want to try to promote this, and
And we are, and just when we were talking briefly, if they go to back to league schedules, we will have representatives, and which will give us input from the Monroe County League, Livingston County, Rochester City, Finger Lakes, Independence, private parochials. We will have contacts and try to keep the information flowing to the listeners, what's going on in those various leagues.
yeah, I think that's important. That we are going to do Monroe County, but we have a good friend that's down.
Well, this is Section 5. This is
Yeah,
Section
Section
5
5.
football,
So
so we cover them all.
Livingston County, Finger Lakes, Monroe County, the city.
And you know what will be interesting that we will probably start to follow is, what is it, the 8-man football that we have
Yeah,
now in,
yeah.
and because we had a great team in this area with the Pembroke this year.
Pembroke one state.
Yeah, that they or they went as far
As
as
they can
they
go.
can go,
Yeah.
and maybe they will expand that next year. But you know, uh, I've never been to an 8-man
No, I
game,
haven't either. I've
so
seen it on TV, but I'm
we
not,
we may be at an eight
yeah, we
man game
may.
one
We
week.
may.
So that um, there also, we would like to pass on then, when we know of in February, a lot of the kids commit to their colleges where they will be attending next year, and if we have college commitments, we will pass that on to you, of our local kids in the area that are going to go on and play at the collegiate level.
All along those lines is just recently Cortland winning the Division 3 national
Oh, that was a
championship.
fantastic
That
game.
was an awesome game, and we had, I want to say, 6 players that are at Cortland playing ball that won the Division III national championship, and a lot of people don't even know that.
Yeah, and we had other New York State teams. I think Ithaca was in the
Yep,
playoffs,
yep,
so we have kids playing all over the states. And I think in one of the bowl games, was a young man from East High played for Georgia State,
yes, yes,
and
yes.
he ran for a couple hundred yards in that
Two
game.
hundred and 50 yards or
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
so they're well represented Section 5, and we want to applaud them
Yes. Yes.
on that. Um, there's also new coaches every year in Section 5, and we will announce them. Some schools have still not made a final decision on who their new head coach will be, but when we have them all, we will announce them and some of the changes as far as the coaching staff. And I know in future broadcasts, we would like to bring on some of the sectional championship teams coaches from the previous year, 2023. And it's always nice to have them recap, the good things that happened throughout their past football season. And we want to know, what are they doing in the off season so they can repeat,
Yep.
and hear about their off season program, because there's so much when you get involved at that high school level that is going on in the off season to prepare them for the upcoming fall.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important.
And that, um, one of the other topics, and I know we've talked, and you've been involved in this for a long time with your coaching at Aquinas, but we want to talk about rivalries, football rivalries, and we have some great rivalries in Section 5, and I'm just going to name a few. There's so many, but you had that McQuaid Aquinas rivalry that is
Yep.
huge. The Cal Mum Leroy. Some of these rivalries don't have anymore. The old Little Brown Jug, the East Rochester Fairport, and your dad had coached
Yes.
in those games.
I have a real good one. 1977. I'm a ball boy at Fairport, and we're coming out of the locker room, the team at Fairport, and we walked out, and I looked down to my left, and there was nothing but people. They're out down by A Route Road, and all the whole hill, everything's covered with people. And I looked over, I looked at my dad. I'm like, these people, they can't watch. They can't see the game. They can't even hear the game. My dad says they just want to be here, and that's how it was back then.
Well, I remember going to the Leroy Kelmum games, and you would see people bringing ladders in, because there was 5 rows deep of people by the fences, and that they had to go up high to watch those games.
And I'll tell you, some of the great times in my life before I was coaching, when I was a ball boy, when we were at Fairport, and Don Santini. I mean, the man, just unbelievable. Just being around him and seeing him coach, and how he affected the kids, and how my father affected, and they definitely had it going on back in the '80s. That was the beast of the East, they used to
Well,
call
there were some great football teams,
Yeah.
and actually, nationally ranked in the country. USA Today, actually,
Yep.
they were.
And I'll till this day, Don Santini's, he's a little up in age right now, but I used to tell him this all the time. I go, for the longest time when I was a ball boy, I thought every kid on the other team that Fairport played, his first name was always Sucker. Because he'd be telling the kids, we got to get these suckers. We got to go after these suckers. We got to beat these suckers. And forever I thought every kid on the other team's name was Sucker. So, but I just loved it. Our whole family did, and really enjoyed those times at Fairport.
Well, speaking on that note, I think another segment that we will be having in future podcasts, we're going to have a "Where Are They Now" segment, where we're going to bring in a lot of those great coaches, players from Section 5, and find out what they're doing now.
Yeah.
And some of them have went on, to play professionally. We have a couple right now that are playing in that new USFL, XFL league.
Geron and
Yeah,
Jameer
I think you
Jones.
coached them.
Yep.
So you,
Actually, I just Facebook Jameer. Jameer, if you get a hold of this or Geron, throw me a text or give me a call. You got my number, and if you guys aren't gone, I would love to have you down here. And just a lot of guys didn't get to where you were or at right now. And the times that you guys had at Notre Dame. I mean, those are pretty incredible.
no, it's so great to again have these legends come on and hear about their experience when they were coaching and playing, and some of them what type things they got into after coaching or
Hmm.
their playing days. So we are going to have that part. And I think one other that I think is going to be fun too, John. I know you and myself will love this topic. Is a food segment.
Oh, we love
Yeah,
it.
we love food.
We just had a little stuff over on the side.
There's always going to be something, but I know that we would like to hear what some of the favorite tailgate foods are, some of the better concession stands in the
Yep,
area,
yep.
and there's always a food story to bring up.
Another quick one. I'm coaching at Greece Olympia at the time, and we're out at East Rochester. Their sausages are just they're the, they are the bomb. But the rolls were terrible, and so we decided every time we went to East Rochester, we would bring our own rolls. So we go in, and after a while, we were there so many times. They're like, "Oh, there's the guys from Olympia," and we give these are the rolls. These are the rolls for the sausages. So they used to put those sausages were just absolutely delicious. And then we had our rolls on them. We do like talking about food.
Oh, right. You can't go wrong with that. And I know even this past year, I think we went to a Hilton football
Hilton.
game and we did
We
tailgate.
tailgated. Yes,
Right.
we did.
And I remember sitting out there and Hall of Fame coach Don Hagreen stopped by our tailgate.
Yep, yep, yes, he did. Then George and Chuck Giordano
Hello?
stopped
Uh,
over, and Sammy Casarino stopped over.
Absolutely. Right.
So
So
we might do a tailgating one this
we
year.
probably will too, right? We probably too. But those are some of the various topics, things that we will get deeper into discussion throughout the year. And again, we are open for other ideas, topics that we would want to bring up on this
Mhm.
podcast. And we are going to, like we said, there's the communication to be passed out to people who are interested and want to follow up on some things.
Now, some other things I have down here. I've been working diligently.
Wow.
I know it's a word. I didn't know if it came out right, but if I can always edit it out. Anyways, we were talking about George Giordano being on in a couple weeks. Um, After that, I'd like to go through and talk about. We already have a couple sponsors,
Oh,
which I'm
right.
very.
You have sponsors. That's
The
fantastic.
first one was George with West Side Camp. Like I said, we're gonna do 3 nights up there, West Side Camp. The other one is our second one was is Premier Sports in Greece Ridge Mall with Joe Muno,
Oh, fantastic.
and we're gonna talk once a week from his store. And up there, actually, he mentioned it to me. He's like, we used to have a player of the week type of thing. And he goes, would you like to? I'd love to do it. Yeah, it's awesome. So we're going to broadcast up at Premier Sports during football season, and we're going to hand out a player of the week.
And that was going to be Thursday nights. Is that?
We're not. I'm not.
Sure.
We're still. I
Okay,
mean, we're
whatever.
still.
We try to do it
Yeah.
before the previous week.
We like to do. It's going to be sometime in the middle of the week, only because we're going to talk about the previous week and the upcoming week, as far as games, what are going on, big games that are going on, and then have the player of the week on, and sit down and talk to.
To receive the
the
award
award and all that. One of my also sponsors I have is Howie, up at Sticky Lips.
Oh, sticky! I've been there many times.
So Howie's been an old friend of ours for years, and he's going to get us gift certificates.
We could smell it from our East High field.
Oh, I know.
Back
I
in the
remember when it was over there.
day. Right?
I remember when that was over there. Let me go through now. Paul did this a couple times. Now I'm doing them too. Like I said, we're old coaches. The glasses are huge. They're absolutely huge. So we got those guys down. Oh, the other one is a guy that I work with up at school. Actually, he played ball for Paul over at East High, and he runs a security company on his own, and it's called Under the Radar, and his name is Ronnie Crawford.
I remember Ronnie very well.
And he's just a great
He
guy.
sure is. He sure is.
So he's aboard with us as one of our sponsors, and we love to have him. So like I said, we got with Premier Sticky Lips and that. Um, I'm almost done. What do you got?
I'm good. We
Yeah.
hopefully we covered what we wanted to cover, and you said the next broadcast will be
Next
next
Tuesday.
right next Tuesday. So that must be the 30th. I think.
Yep,
The
30th.
30th.
But it probably. Oops, my bad. I knew that was going to happen. It probably won't be out until the 31st. Because, like I said, we're doing it now, and I have to do all the editing, which hopefully I'll get better at. Hello.
Well,
And we can go from there.
I was going to say we'll expand more on some of the topics we brought in and get more in depth in those and have more information, whether it's dates or websites or phone numbers to for people who have an interest in any of those.
A couple people I have to mention here before we get done is one. The earlier one I said was Nick Taranko, our library computer guy up at school. I can't thank him enough. I mean, I would have never gotten here tonight or whatever if it wasn't for him. So thank you very much, Nick. I appreciate you. The other one is a guy I'm working with. His son played football for us on the '01 and '02 state teams at Aquinas. Um, his name's Arnie Rothschild. And Arnie and I are partnering together and trying to get some sponsors. Right now, I can't really talk about them because we're still in negotiations, I guess, or whatever. But we're talking about things. And I guess what I could say is there's some big time names. And he's a big time guy. Just an awesome gentleman.
Well, there's a lot of people in the area that really love football.
Yeah.
And, I think that this is a way of communicating to listeners and people that just love the game and want to contribute and help out any way they can.
And like again, and I've talked to people about sponsors and that, and the thing I tell them, this is not a money maker. Yeah, we like to have some cash come in so we can like the Player of the Week award, we can get some gift certificates for that. As far as doing things like that. But like again, I have a full time job. Paul's happily retired.
Very happily retired.
And this is just our way of maybe, hey, if this helps, that's all we're looking for. If there's kids out there and they're like, what, that's pretty cool. I like that. That's what this is about. And I have two other quick ones, and then I guess I'm going to be done. Is the first one I got is my mother.
Yes, sir.
With the Purcells.
And they are good. I'm going to have some more after we get done, too. I can tell you that.
She's going to have a smorgasbord up there when we're done. So, yeah, I got to thank her for everything. The other one is my BFF, Tina Anderson. Tina, I just got to thank for listening to me every night. Some nights are good. some, it's like, this is going on or that's going on, and just listening to my BS, or just talking, and she's just an awesome girl, lady, and I just love her to death.
Can you again put this keeping it real Section 5 football for again anybody who wants to pass on this podcast to others?
Yeah. When we air this, when I hopefully get this out tomorrow, it's going to be on YouTube. So you go on YouTube, and up at the top is search. Just it's going to be somewhat like this, with keeping it real. Uh, keeping it real is all caps because we use caps. All right. Keep it, and then underneath it, Section 5 football. So that's what we got for that. It'll be on YouTube. They're talking about TikTok and other stuff that I'm not even familiar with, but Nick knows what he's doing. And I just put it in his hands, and he's been taking care of me good.
And like the shirt.
Oh, the shirts too. Yeah, the shirts.
Right. I love the shirts.
I
Looking
mean,
good.
for a couple of amateurs, I think hopefully we can make a difference.
Well, we're sure going to try.
You know what I mean? So that's all I have.
I'm done.
Okay, everybody, we'll see you next week. Have a great week. Get ready for some more Section 5 football. And again, let me put this out real quick, too. If you have any suggestions, you can email them to me. It's pretty easy. My email address is jmerola, all small, MEROLA 4747 at gmail.com.
And I'm JP Brigandi, BRIGANDI at AOL.com.
Ooh, AOL. I didn't know they.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm really old school.
Wow. That's awesome.
All right.
Old school. All right, everybody have a great
Have
night.
a great night.
All right, we'll talk to you.
Bye-bye.